live on social media. Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome for another episode of the Puppet Podcast. Yes, I'm Caroline, and I'm doing this podcast with a lot of passion, and I hope you enjoy it. And I want to make a vibe really friendly to this. And it's funny because it's the second time I interview Eric, because the first time we get some lagging problem and during the interview and we were just frozen. It was the beginning of the project, but now we are at episode 128, and Eric is saying to me, just maybe we can do it again, trying to figure the technical aspect. But it seems to have like an aura of technicality with Eric, but it's so fun. So everyone, thank you for watching first. And if you want to like talk to us during the live, feel free to write it down just below in the chat. We will see it. We can bring it into the guest and just discuss as the beauty of live interview on the web. So yeah, before we go into the interview, I just want to plug a bit of our Patreon, because we do workshop every month, almost every month, but every month since a while. The summer was a bit busy, but now we do that, and those workshop are about different subject, but often it's about like the how to promote the marketing aspect, but also how to do crowdfunding. This is our next workshop that we do, so have a look on this platform. And yes, I hope you will enjoy. We offered help to help artists to live from their art. So if you need anything, just write to us. And yes, it will be a pleasure to connect with you. So everyone, let's bring Eric. But I'm not sure it's Eric. I see the virtual studio. Maybe it's a mystery, some new character who will appear, because Eric is a pro of mask building and you have a lot of stuff to show us. So let's see how it goes. So, ladies and gentlemen, please drum roll for Eric Bornstein. A bit blurry, but we see a character here.
I'm so nervous. I'm finally back with you, Caroline. I I'm so excited. I'm so excited just hearing about you guys. I'm just I'm so happy to be here.
Don't be shy. We are super friendly, and we have people watching from Mexico, so we
From
are all
Mexico.
connected.
Hola, hola.
Yeah, it's
Saludos. Saludos, amigos.
so, Eric, could you introduce yourself to the people, the crowd who maybe don't know you? I met you in Boston a few years ago, but I
Oh,
want people to know from your voice. Maybe you can this. Yeah, it's an appearance to do magic.
how's that? How's that?
This is amazing.
We
You're
are
so talented.
multitudes. Yeah. Wow, there's so much that we can be.
Yeah, who are you, Eric? What do
I
you
just want to
do?
celebrate all the multitude in me and in you and in everyone every day. I mask making is a never-ending source of inspiration. I got to stay on the camera here. I'm on wheels.
Yeah, it's puppetry.
That's right. All right.
So
So
yeah, you build mask, but
I
you do
do.
puppet also,
I
and we
do.
know that mask and puppetry are really connected.
Absolutely. And it's always fascinating to me why someone tends towards one or the other. I mean,
Yeah,
there's now certainly I've really enjoyed the puppets that I've made, but I just naturally go towards the mask, where it's like in the Javanese mask theater, they call it wayang wong, right? The human
yeah,
puppets. And the
yeah,
movement of the masked dancers is drawn from the the performance of the wayang golek and wayang kulit, the puppets. So the way that they move is taken from the puppets, so they're human puppets. I guess I kind of like the idea of transforming the body to the into the character, even though, of course, the obvious advantages of the puppet are that you can make it much more distended or play with the proportions, make it very other. But
Yeah.
the challenge of making a human being other apparently are appealing. I mean, I don't know. I really
Yeah.
don't know. I think that the puppetry community is where I feel very much at home, where I think people understand what I do better than many of the other subcultures where masks are used. So there is a connection, and I've been doing it for 40 years, and I'm still working on the mask puppetry connection. There's a lot of puppeteers that only make puppets. There's a few that make a couple of masks for their show, for a show, and some that make more masks, but still people usually tend to be more one or the other. And
Yes. That.
and that's what I'm interested in. I think I don't like working in miniature. Like I don't enjoy just because of my eyes and my big hands. I think it makes it
Uh-huh.
harder. Uh, and but even with that, there are large puppets. I mean, there's those puppets that you wear on your body, and your arm becomes, you have the head that's the same size as your head. And I'm fascinated with those. And I keep
Yeah.
wanting to make one of those kind of puppets because it's like, oh, how perfect for a mask maker. It's a very quick transition. And
Yeah.
yet, and yet, do I make them? No. I mean, I want to. I just
Yeah.
forget. I get the idea and I say, of course, perfect. That's exactly what I want to do. I want to make those kind of puppets, and then I just make more masks. And when someone if someone hires me to make a puppet, then I'm all about that, trying to find the solutions.
Yeah,
But
and you are really creative. I know that you are drawing like with a great discipline every day. That's
mhm.
what you show me, and you create like you really you are the artist lifestyle of like doing stuff and
Oh,
creating every day.
absolutely. Yeah, I decided at a certain point, this is what I do. I mean, I just came from teaching a yoga class, but I find that the yoga practice, I mean, you have a physical practice as well. I mean,
Yeah,
to support yourself as an artist, it's a balance. It's not like one is different than the other. They're just part of you, and they
yeah.
balance your uh, everything. What it's just what your body and your mind and your imagination need. I know you do other things, and you skate too, don't you? You do things on
Yeah,
ice. Holy moly!
yeah, we are proactive, but that's true that physicality is really important to keep the shape of like the artist lifestyle at the same time than creating
Absolutely.
daily.
It's important mentally as well. I find, I mean, I've been doing art all my life from even in the crib. I did creative wall murals there, but um, you but I mean, I have drawings from the ones that are saved that are dated. Let's see, like from 6 years old on. I have
Wow.
so many drawings, and some of them are really developed, and it
Uh-huh.
so I mean, I've always been making art. It was just always there. And I always say that the reason I still do this now is that underneath, I am still that 8-year old that just
Yeah.
every day I came home from school. I was making art in school too. And then I'd come home and I'd make art all day, or I'd go in the forest. A lot of my art is inspired by being in nature. So I'd say that those are the natural things. I've been going into the forest or to by the ocean, climbing trees, and
Yeah.
swimming, and all of these things since a very young age. And nature is a large part of my influence, and all the folklore about nature. Today in the studio with my intern, we listened to fairy tales all day. I wanted to give her a good overview of all the different folkloric and fairy tale traditions, from whether it was Grimm's or Italo Calvino, Charles Perrault,
Yeah.
Madame Dalroy, the white cat. We did the white. She had never. heard the white cat. So
Wow.
and so many of these, we listen to folklore and fairy tales all day long, and that's another passion of mine. And I've
Yeah.
been reading fairy tales since I was very little, and I still do, and it's still very much part of my work.
Yeah.
And what else? I started doing yoga when I was 14 years old, and that just okay. That's part of my life plan. And
Yeah, you have a lot of like decision, aware decision to
absolutely,
do things
yep,
like since you're young,
yep.
and cultivate it.
Nature, fairy tales, yoga, art. They are all part of, to me, the complete man.
That's amazing. But
Oh,
let
and
me
cooking.
ask you some deep question, because it's our second interview, and I know I asked you deep question the first time, but as it's the second one, I prepare some of the question maybe that we can address in terms of
Okay.
I feel you are really into a mission as an artist. Like you really, I feel you have a duty, and I always say that it's part of my vocabulary. The artists have a role in the society. It isn't just not entertainment, it's more than that. I want to hear you on your personal mission as an artist. This is deep.
Oh,
This is
so
deep.
just the light questions.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, clearly there's a mission, and I should really write that. And, I've written artist statements about what I do, but that's a different question to
Yeah.
explain what I do. But to really focus that question on my mission, I think I like to remind people that this is possible. I think that we're brought up that you're supposed to be like this, you're supposed to fit into the mainstream, you're supposed to do
Mm.
everything like other people do it. And there's a lot of folks that kind of co-opt your identity. They tell you,
Uh-huh.
my parents said I went to college pre-med until I like what's going on? And switched to they had an idea that because I was smart that I should be a doctor, a lawyer, or something like that. At the very least, a businessman. Well, I've become none of those things, and those were never my path. But I've met so many people in life, whether it's just society as a whole, the approval or disapproval of a variety of people that try to tell you who you are. And
Yeah.
I've always known what I love. I've always known it. And that's what I love. And so I guess I've had to learn certain boundaries and certain stubbornness. I talked to a wonderful artist, Tim Clark. We did a panel together last year. I was recently at the Comic-Con, and so I do panels on uh, creature creation and on careers in the visual arts, in the
Yeah.
arts. And last year, the two of us were on the panel together, and I was talking with him last weekend, and he was telling me more about his family. Like his parents were completely supportive, and
Mm.
all his siblings were into the arts. And when one left the arts, they became uh, they took care of gardens and flowers and trees. Like those are the things that their family just naturally. It's like, yeah, that's great too. And so for me, there were no artists in my family, nowhere. And so I was an odd duck. There were really almost no artists in the town I grew up. So there were no artists in my peer group. Although my best friend, who's still my friend, is a photographer and writer. So we
Mm.
got together, we connected, but that was it. That was my only friend that even had an appreciation for the arts. So I grew up in a bit of a vacuum where it was really my vision, and I was just very stubborn and single-minded. I knew what I liked, and I just did it. And of course, it's the
Uh-huh.
most impractical thing one can do in life, and my family reminded me of it every single day. And it's not like I've become a better businessman about it or a more clever marketer. I mean, you know me, right? I am neither of those things. I just work hard every day, and my heart is 100% in it. And so
Yeah.
I say to people, I joke and say I am part role model and part cautionary tale. I mean, this can't possibly exist, and yet here I am another day.
Yeah, but you're unique. That's the resume of it. I think you are unique, and you have something different to offer to the world. But I'm kind of curious about the business aspect. The fact that you said that you're not into business, it's interesting to me because we
Yeah,
talk
how is that?
about that a lot, about what is the art business. We call it show business, but how
Mm.
is to live from this building creativity? And I want to hear you on that because you diversify also what you offer. You offer yoga stuff and internship but how you make that as like a business, a living business, as a creator and an artist. This is
Well,
deep.
my father used to say, he was a salesman and an antique dealer. He'd say, "We lose money on every sale, but we make it up in volume." So I think what he really means, like he was a very dynamic, charismatic man, and he just was always moving forward and just always engaged. And so there was just something about the momentum that was created that just seemed to be impossible, but it was always sustainable.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he was better, of course, with money than I am, but I think that it's because I'm relentless. I just put my head down. I come out of surgery and I'm back in the studio, and I come out of some crisis and I'm back in the studio, or having another disaster, but I still getting my work done. Like
Yeah.
what is that? I get my heart broken and I'm still in the studio. I always, my advice to like my son or to other people is let the river of art flow. Keep it flowing.
Yeah.
One thing
Yeah.
I've never had is whatever they call like writer's block. Like,
Yeah.
those dry spells where all of a sudden you think, oh, it's all dried up. I don't have any ideas. I've never experienced that. It's just a constant flow
Yeah.
of the river of art. I'll never live long enough to do all the things that I want to do. You could leave me anywhere and I will create projects there. And it's just part of my nature. And then then of course, like you said, so I have my nature and what's natural for me. And then I try to make it work in today's society, our capitalist society. Um, having a house, having a kid, having, just being functional in a neighborhood and all of that. It's it I was explaining to my intern today that I said, since the business of being an artist is so unsure, just living on the knife's edge. It's so, you just never know when, it's just so unpredictable, that all the qualities that I can have that I can cultivate that are stable, those
Uh-huh.
I'm very I get up every morning at 7 and I have breakfast and coffee, and I have lunch at noon, between noon and 1. I have dinner at a certain time. I get regular exercise. I drink plenty of water. Like I try to be as stable. I've had the same phone number for 20 years. I've had the same address for almost 20 years. I'm very dependable. I read my emails every day. I follow up phone calls. So anything that I can be consistent with and stable with, um, I am, because
Yeah.
the nature of what I do is the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Because what I
And
do is the most impossible, ridiculous thing that you could do in this life.
it's good advice at the same time because I won't say that it's ridiculous to create, but
No, of
the
course, it's ridiculous according to a
the
capitalist,
yeah,
mainstream, suburban society. Yes, that was in my face every day growing up, and
it's
that's
kind of,
my
it's not serious. It's not like
right.
traditional, or
Yes,
that's for
how
sure.
many times does a young person hear, well, when you get out of high school, or when you get out of college, you have to go in the real world. You have to
Yeah.
give up all those dreams and all those ideas, and the real world, it's like, I've been creating this real world here around me for 40 years. And when
Yeah.
people are in here, they like it. and it's pretty
Yeah.
real to me. And I feel very much at home here.
Yeah.
This is very real, and I'm able to address a lot of issues. It keeps me young. It helps me process. I mean, I'm very empathic. That's why I spend a lot of time in the studio, because I feel a lot of things. I think about a lot of things, and I don't understand how non-artists can deal with all of that. Yeah, I think my head would explode if I couldn't address those thoughts or those
Yeah.
feelings. But making art every day, it's a pressure valve release as well. But I get to engage. How can I make art about certain social issues? How can I make art that addresses, my personal politics? Or how can I support other artists? Like, because that's politics too. When you support
Yeah.
some of the sort of fringe artists, there are a lot of the neo burlesque folks around here. There's some really brilliant, women that are working here that when I make pieces that support their shows, I get to deal with subject matter that's really on the edge and very
Yeah.
exciting to work with. But also, I'm supporting these artists that, I mean,
Yeah.
what they're doing is more impossible than what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of I look at women making art and just out there putting themselves on the line. That's harder. I mean, as hard as it is for me, and it is hard. I look at folks, people of color, women, people, you know, uh,
Yeah.
LGBT people. It
Yeah.
gets harder and harder and harder. So what can I do? I try to get involved in all of those areas and have the art that I do support different people, different individuals, different groups, different
That's
ideas.
that's key that you said, like the support aspect, but also like your personal discipline in that. I think it's really inspiring. And we have Tina, who had on this: love the spirit, follow the dream of creativity. Thank you, Tina, for this lovely command. It's really yeah, the combination of for success, and she approved on that, because that's true, that to be disciplined will bring you somewhere. You maybe don't know where, but as you support other artists and you create every day, you will arrive at some point at the other hand with good creativity. Yeah, that's the time to show some stuff to the audience. Whoa. Yeah, this is kind of a mythological, also creature. Really interesting.
Well, I was doing there's a horror burlesque group that I work with from time to time. We've done Revenge of the Robot Battle Nuns and and Spider Cult the musical, and the group, the Slaughterhouse Society, did a production of sort of burlesque. I don't know how to describe it because it's not any burlesque that you would even think of. But they did a production of Dracula with a female Dracula and just a whole, and they mashed together Jekyll and Hyde and a wolf. There was a female werewolf that was phenomenal. And so anyway, I made like 13 different masks. And so when I was doing some of Dracula's cohorts, I had started to make one that had this basic shape. Oh,
Yeah, I can go larger here.
I have to go backwards. Oh, yeah, that's better. I
Yeah.
can see a little better. And although when I turn, there,
Yeah, it's
okay,
invert. It's
it's
really
backwards.
puppetry.
Backwards. So I had made this shape, but then she didn't want this particular. She wanted a different type of aesthetic. So I put this aside. But I had this laying around. I mean, it didn't have ears. It didn't have hair or anything. It was just the basic shape. And she didn't want it. So I went and I did all that. And then I said, well, what about this? Who could this be? And I'm thinking, it's giving me a vibe, kind of like Ursula from Little Mermaid, or like
Uh-huh.
a kind of a sea witch. And
Yeah.
so I started to do this, and then I have like a lobster claw hanging from the ear, and then somebody had given me some of this blue hair, so I I used some of it on the top, and then I said, well, I think that she should have a sister. And so I started playing with that, and then I I started doing this way, and
Yeah.
and she's got the sharp teeth, and she has a little different vibe. And then I made get some different ears. Oh, how do I turn it this way? And made
Yeah.
some ears for her. Where's the ears? There. And then there was somebody that I know, and I was thinking of these as being fairly large female characters, and I could probably wear one if we have the right costuming and maybe some gloves, some shimmery gloves. But then one of my colleagues, and she's a wild actor, but she's like 90 pounds. She's like, I want to wear one of those, and it's like, well, wait a minute, let me make one for you. And so I made one that kind of looks like her. I just decided, okay, there's going to be three sisters, and it's like, oh, that's perfect, three witches. You always have the three
Yeah.
sisters, because it's like like Hocus Pocus, etc. So
Yeah.
I only had a little bit of blue hair left, and and so and and and
Oh.
and I've got a little nose ring in her, and I'll do a bigger one. But then I made one with a narrow face for her. So they each of the three has a different personality. Like in the movie Hocus Pocus, or that sort of thing,
Yeah.
or the three witches of
But
Shakespeare.
it's interesting to start like your creation. Let's say you give those objects to creator and they start from this mask to create their character, and the
Right.
show
So
arrive after. So it's
so
different.
that's all it was. I just had this studio orphan kicking around, and it just got my imagination going. And so to me, a mask is a story that's come to life. Like,
Uh-huh.
why would you make a mask if it didn't have a story? So
Yeah.
masks are all about storytelling. So I see this orphan, and I just kind of flesh it out. It like sits on my wall, and I pass by it, and I think about it, and then one day I have a few hours, and I make it into something. Over the
Yeah.
pandemic, I had also had an opportunity to make this green Tara, sort of
Whoa.
a bodhisattva. I wish this was focused, I
Yeah.
so that you could see this more clearly. But this is 23 karat gold leaf, and
Wow.
um, and it's got a really lovely green patina, and
Yeah.
she's and glass eyes that I don't know if you can how well
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can,
Yeah. We see it,
but
and
I thought
it's
it's really
powerful. Those
nice.
objects are really like magic.
Yeah, so it's but then you go right from what is this? And then here's a piece. Actually, I need to I need to box it and ship it tomorrow. So this is a piece. It's a cosplay piece. It's worn on the head like this, and it's from the anime Bleach. So a lot of the work I do is for cosplayers,
Uh-huh.
and this is a wedding present for somebody. The guy called me up, and he wanted a wedding present for a friend, and she loves this anime and this character that wears this skull. And so
Wow.
this is the piece from the anime. And so I've been waiting for him. I told him, oh, why don't you write her a personal letter? Because what he explained to me, he said, well, I said, tell me your story. That's what I tell a client. Tell me your story. You
Yeah.
know, I want to hear your story. I want to know, why do you want me to bring your dream to life? I want to know your dream.
Yeah.
So he said, well, there was a time I was really down and out, and this woman was very kind and generous and helped me out, and she's getting married now, and this would be something very special to her. So I said, well, I'm honored that you chose me to. And
Uh-huh.
I don't know how people find me. I really don't. I don't market, but I get, I guess, good word of mouth. And so he said, I researched, and I knew you're the one to make this for me. And it was like, I mean, he's from another state. I mean, I don't even know who, and I'm very flattered and touched. But I told him I was honored to be part of his beautiful idea to share this with
Uh-huh.
this dear friend. And so I told him also to write a handwritten letter, and I would decoupage it to the inside of the mask before I send it. So I've been waiting
Yeah.
for it, but of course, you ask somebody to write something from their heart. Nobody wants to handwrite anything anymore. So I've been waiting like already a week. It's been finished. So I brought it to the convention and I showed it because over at the convention, people they know the anime, so
Yeah.
they appreciate seeing this.
Yeah,
So
to see the accuracy also how you build something, and you are like kind of like right into the details, and you're able to build it. We are almost at the end, Eric.
no, no. Did you want to have dinner?
This is amazing. This is really, as you said, giant puppetry or animated puppets with the body. I really feel that you are further than just the mask aspect. You're amazing. This is so
I'm just
cool.
silly. I'm just silly. I say all mass work, all art is play, and
Yeah.
all art is invention.
Yeah.
But we take it seriously. We take our play very seriously. It becomes our profession. But what a great profession to be professional play play
Yeah.
partners. Like,
Yeah.
and that's part of my mission. I really just want to collaborate. I like to play with other people. I like to have my alone time. I need a lot of solitary time, but when I come out, I love playing with people. Like,
Yeah.
I have a wonderful performer who comes in on every Friday. We're putting a show together. Chiara Durazzini. She wrote Pinocchio, a commedia adventure. Right before the pandemic, we did Pinocchio that February before the March, and I made 13 masks for Pinocchio with the nose and all of that. Now that's something that's usually a puppet show, but we did it with masks, and so
Yeah.
we're bringing it back. I'm going to play Geppetto and all of these characters,
Oh my
and
God.
she's very small. She plays Pinocchio, and she's brilliant, and with her Italian accent and all of that, and it's just,
Yeah.
but
We
we
want to
but
see that
well,
how
you will
it,
believe me, you'll know. But when she
okay.
came over here, we were gonna release an excerpt. So I like back a couple months ago, I said, "Well, come home to my studio on Friday at 10 o'clock. We'll work on the excerpt." Well, we came in. She says, Eric, look at all these masks everywhere. We have to make a show. We're gonna make a show with these masks." And we started writing a new show. That's just like
Yeah.
about all masks from everywhere, from all the way
Yeah.
back in history, from the beginning of time. And then
Your
we just go,
studio is really impressive. Actually, it's really inspiring. I think you could just put picture of your studio online, and we could have like a blast of like doing a tour around.
well, anytime you're in the area, we can do stuff. So
Yeah.
everybody knows this one, right?
Yeah. And if people want to know more about you, like where they, they should look. Yeah. Vendetta. Yeah, the wonderful movie.
If they want to find me, it's good to find me on Facebook. My website is it's a little old, and I haven't done anything to it in about 10 years. So it has connection. I mean, it's okay, it's there, behindthemask.org.
Uh-huh.
But find me on Facebook at Eric Bornstein, ERIC. Oh, right there. See that little red?
Yeah, just
You see it.
boom
Go
here.
there.
Toot, 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 toot. It's just there. Write that down. And yes, you will reach Eric. And yes, we need to find a better camera to do a tour into your studio another
This
time.
camera always worked in the past, but I don't use it. I usually do this sort of thing through my phone, but the phone wouldn't work for you.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know sometimes. Oh, we are in the Halloween mood now. Yeah, thank you so much, Eric. You're amazing. And we have uh Julio say the philosophical sense of what a mask is very important. What it is, and hola from Mexico. Thank you, Julio. So interesting. A fantôme de l'opéra. Amazing. Eric, I will have to push you out of the screen, but I think we could have like do a tour of your studio all day, all night to see all those creation that you have around. And people, if you go in Boston area, yes, contact Eric, go in the studio. Just this, you will have a blast of creation.
I'll even make lunch for you.
Yeah. Or you can eat donut. We eat donut a morning.
Did we? Did we
Yeah,
eat
when
donuts?
I come to visit you, you bring me in the donut store and we
Well,
eat those big cronut donut. I don't know those
well,
kind
the
of.
next time I'll make real food for you.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
I love to cook
yeah,
too. So
that's
hopefully,
amazing.
all right. So this was a success, even with the blurry. But the third time will be the charm. We'll get everything
Yeah,
right.
yeah, and we will do a studio tour. We will focus on this aspect.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. So stay in the studio. We could chat after that, but I will push you out of the screen. One, two, three. We say bye bye, Eric. Joe. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. This was amazing. Just to chat. It's kind of like the second interview of someone, and it's funny how we can just go all over the place with other kind of question, always deep as the Puppet Podcast. So yeah, the way to go, Eric. Thank you, Timari. That's so cool. And yeah, thank you. We have people asking me like, congratulations for baby. Yeah, so cute, so cute, everyone, to have you following up what we do, and let's connect all puppetry and artists all together and just promote what we do, because what we do is amazing and we need more people knowing about art and just understand it. So yeah, that was my little speech. So have a look on our Patreon. Let me just bring that into the screen. We have the Patreon here. Patreon community if you want to know more about what we do. But we are all over the place now on LinkedIn. We can do some live over there, and we stream on. We have the audio aspect of those podcasts, so feel free to just connect when you're building puppets or you're doing art. You can listen. Those podcasts is always inspiring. So everyone, have a safe time and keep creating, and we will see you soon for another episode next week of the Puppet Podcast. Bye bye.